And here's my presentation on Lexington District 1, and the school I teach at is White Knoll High School. And you can see a picture there. It's a fairly large high school. Some customs and traditions. First off, I'd like to explain White Knoll is in the city of Red Bank, or the community of Red Bank, and that is in Lexington County. The town is a very hard-working, blue-collar town. It's very quiet, very low crime rate. Most people work 9 to 5 jobs, travel to Lake Murray on the weekends, and in the middle, it's right in the middle of the Bible Belt. So mostly Southern Baptist, Methodist. You see a few um, other types of religions here, but mostly Southern Baptist and Methodist and Christians. You're starting to see a lot of mega churches built here also. Um, so these mega churches are starting to put up their churches, and a lot of the local people are starting to kind of have a struggle of the whether I go against my tradition of the Southern Baptist Methodists, or do I just go with the mega churches? But a lot of that is happening here in this state. We are home of the Dixie Youth Baseball World Series. We do have a Blowfish baseball. A lot of the college guys play here during the summer when they're not playing in the regionals or the World Series. And we do not have a lot of businesses in actual Red Bank. It's a very residential community. Lots of modular home sites are going up. So lots of communities. So population characteristics. The educational level is here is 2 to 4 year college degree education for most families. A lot of people farm around here, so mainly when they graduate high school, they go get their associate degree or maybe bachelor's, and then they start working around the farm, or they work for a local business doing some other types of things, for as a manager at Waffle House or things like that. Population of Red Bank is 9,617. The Lexington County population is 2,700. 3 and 752. We have 4,458 males, 46%, and the other 53% is 5,159 females. The ratio of white, black, Hispanic, and other races is 83.1, so we're predominantly white, and there's 10.2 black and 4.0 Hispanic, and other races make up the 1.6%. The median age here is 40.3, and the South Carolina median age is 38.6, so we're just fairly above that South Carolina median age. Primary language is English, and this town is extremely quiet. There's no racial issues or tension, just because predominantly everybody comes from just a blue collar family that is they just work hard every day, wake up, work, come back, and that's what they do. And that's just the type of good southern town. Community channels. How do we communicate? Well, there are several ways. We have radio, we have the local schools, newspapers, and big thing is social media. Like the schools here, we also can communicate with Lexington High School, White Knoll High School, River Bluff, and there's also feeder schools, elementary and middle school. We'll get into that a little bit later. So the newspapers, we have the state newspaper. It covers the entire state, but mainly Columbia because it's right down the road. We have Lexington Chronicle, and we have the Hometown News. Those are local newspapers. The news channels we have here is WISTV 10 and WOTX 19. The community gets most of its information through social media, Twitter, Facebook, and the local news channels. All of our schools here have Twitter page. They all have Facebook pages. If there's anything that we need to get out emergency-wise, or cancellations or sporting events, things like that, people go to social media, and that's where it mainly happens. And the foreign language here is has not had a huge impact simply because it's mostly a white community, and so there's not a lot of foreigners here in this town. All right, lots of community groups, lots of nonprofit organizations also. Here in the community, we have Habitat for Humanity. That is people working to help build houses for those less fortunate. We have a Harvest Hope Food Bank. That's a lot of times during the Christmas and holidays like Thanksgiving and things. A lot of the people who do not have food, and I'm not just saying just then they are up and running, but it's mainly a food shelter for a lot of the people around this area. And we have Lexington Interfaith Community Service, which is LICS, and that's also like a food and clothing shelter. And it also helps people who do not have jobs, teaches them how to write resumes, build resumes, and it gets their um, name out there to maybe possibly get them on their feet if they are homeless. We have a Samaritan's Wall, well, which is women's and children's food shelter, and that's strictly just for women and children. Mainly, is for women who have went through domestic violence, women who've been raped, and they have the after effects as a child that they possibly can't feed, or they might be been left. So that's a shelter for them. In our school district, we have the Lexington County School Board, and in our actual school, we have FCA, which is Fellowship of Christian Athletes. We have HOSA, which is the leadership for anybody who wants to go into the health program, health. And we have the DECA, is the leadership and entrepreneurs. How is the program for entrepreneurship. And our schools are constantly upgrading to be better than all the schools around. So, for example, we have three major high schools in our district, and it's about who can have the biggest and the best, and we're always the last one to get it because of our location. And a lot of the people that work at these other high schools attended these local high schools, and there are a lot of power in these people that are given this money. So one of our schools got a $300,000 video monitor for their scoreboard. So it's a huge scoreboard. It's like a college scoreboard. And then next thing you know, the one beside it got it, and we are with a scoreboard that we have outdoor wedding speakers on top just to use, and we got it last, and it was a struggle to get it. So we're always trying to be better than the other school because I guess that's just our nature, and that's the way it is. Cost of living here in Lexington is 94.2, and the national median is 100. And the sales tax is 6% here in Red Bank / Lexington. Leadership in the community. Our mayor, Steve McDougal, Sheriff Jay Kuhn, and Governor Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley is a huge leader here in South Carolina. We love her to death. She's done a lot of things, brought down the Confederate flag, which is a huge to-do on the to-do list. Sheriff Jay Kuhn represents his town very well. He's a very hard worker and has rolled his sleeves up for many years. And Mayor Steve McDougal is one of the most genuine, nicest individuals you have been around, and also a hard-working leader who understands how this community is ran. the entire community is influenced by these people because this town is so tightly knit because of its work ethic and just just wanting to strive to be the best through work, and nothing's ever given to these individuals. In our school, our superintendent, Dr. Greg Little, and principals at local high schools like our principal, Ryan Player, Dr. Clamp at a local high school, and the head coaches are also leaders in the community in the local schools. So, how are these people community leaders? Well, they understand how the system works, they understand where they get their results, and they're committed to the economic and environmental and social status. The sheriff provides protection while showing compassion for the families that need it. Sheriff sees a lot of times all he sees is bad stuff. So when he has time to provide for a family that's in need, he definitely does. Striving to seek equality, Nikki Haley for the entire state, removing the Confederate flag, while increasing the socioeconomic status of this entire state. Understands the importance of quality education system. These are our principals and our local coaches. Um, they work hard to bring the community together. I don't know if a lot of people understand that sporting events can, especially when you go deep into the playoffs, win state championships, that brings communities together. And I feel like our coaches are huge leaders when it comes to that. All right, economic conditions. I got to hurry up here, run out of time. Um, we have very little business. We're all farming and residential people, so very little businesses here. We do have like a Michelin. We have a couple of other stores. We have a few Walmarts and things, but as far as major businesses, we here in the town of Lexington, we do not have. Unemployment rate is 3.9. We are growing, 8.8%. Income taxes, 7%. Average property tax payment here is $743. The median home value is $141,000. Some of you northerners that are on here probably salivating seeing how low that is. Household income is $58,000. That's per person, and then family income median is $81,000. So cost of living here is not very much. Just simply because of the location. All right, political structure. Here, South Carolina is funded, schools are funded through 4 different categories: local, federal, other sources, state. So local, you can see local taxes, restaurants, federal Education Act, adult ed. Other sources are long-term notes, capital lease bonds, and state is lottery, revenue of taxes. And here is 11,372 per student is funded in the state of South Carolina. And there's 85 public schools. So in 1995, to fund the schools was $3.4 billion, and that got to $9 billion in 2009. And in Lexington 1, there are 31 schools, 17 elementary, 7 middle, 6 high, and 1 alternative school. Social tensions, predominantly white community, very low racial tension. We do have small little school gangs that everybody has, but not nothing that's like the Bloods and the Crips. That's in local areas, but fortunately has not crept into our community. And the biggest social tension we have here is social media, getting on there and wanting to prove and basically be a social media bully. And those are the biggest tensions we have, even with adults here in this town. So the power structures here, Nikki Haley, governor, President Obama, local wealthy parents like to provide for their students, and they will do anything to pay for their child to have the biggest and the best. Former mayor, lots of the people that are in politics have and old money. So old money talks here in South Carolina, especially in this town. Known power structure here. You can see there Molly Spearman, Dr. Greg Little, and Ryan Player. And then we have to live here with less financial situations because of our location. And public opinion here in at our school is We love this town, we love this community, and from athletics, this is one of the best districts in the state.